Hi, it's Steve Hargadon, and welcome to the closing keynote of our Emerging Technology Mini Conference. Dr. Sue Alman is here. This has been a great day so far. Thanks to our founding partner, the School of Information at San Jose State University. I'm going to give Dr. Sandra Hirsch just a minute to say hi.
Hi, everyone. I hope that you've been enjoying the conference so far, and we are so pleased again to sponsor this important conference. We've loved doing it, as I mentioned before, since 2011, and looking forward to continuing this, exploring important topics going forward as well. I'm really pleased that Sue Alman is joining us. She's a full-time professor, lecturer at our school, and she will be bringing us home in terms of kind of reflecting on emerging technology for the field. So I'd like to turn it over to her.
Thank you so much, Sandy. I'll turn my video on for a moment till we get started here. And then all right. As Sandy said, I teach at the iSchool at San Jose State University. And for about the last 6 years, I've been teaching a course called The Emerging Future, Technology Issues and Trends. And in that course, we take a look at ways to stay current with the new technologies, ways to plan for the technology in libraries, and ways to pay for it. And we also look at many of the impact factors and issues that affect this technology. So today, I'm going to bring in some of the ideas that were in the concurrent sessions and give you some ideas of where to go to stay current with the technologies. Let me see here. There we go. This afternoon, we had many diverse concurrent sessions that built on the really incredible keynote sessions that we had at the very beginning. And I was able to go into most of them for a little bit, and I've made notes. So if you see me looking over at my notes, I am prepared, but I want to make sure that I don't miss anything that was discussed. Now, if you were here for the beginning, for the keynote, you were asked, are you a geek king or a geek queen? And many of you said you were, and so you really know how to stay on top of the technology. But I do think that there are others here who may not be as comfortable in knowing what some of the technologies are, how to find out information about them, how to stay current. So in conferences, we learn a lot in the sessions that are given, but we also learn a lot with talking to one another. So I'm going to ask you to put in the chat, and let me open up my chat real quickly so I can see things as well. What I'm going to ask you to do is to put in the chat some of the ideas that you got from today and share with one another. Please know that all the sessions have been recorded. You can go back in if somebody says something that was really good in a session, and then you can take a look at it. So please, in the chat, put in the topics that were discussed that really were innovative for you. Put in new technologies that are being used in your library. Are they effective? And what new technologies that you learned about today could be used soon in your library? What I'm going to be doing is to talk about what librarians can do to keep on track with these trends, to understand the emerging technologies so that they can be used for library applications and that they meet user needs and interests. I'm sorry, my slides are getting ahead of me. So some of the things that we need to know as information professionals is to keep tabs on what's going on in the world and how can libraries use technology to help. Can we help our users understand the political system with civic literacy? Can we help them, new people coming into our country who are interested in citizenship classes? What can we do with our programs and services to get people up to speed with what is of interest to them? One of the last sessions that I went into in the last hour was looking at the planning process, and it was from the Nebraska Library Council, and talking about how we get our users to help us know what is going to be relevant to them in terms of technology. With mobile technologies, all the things that are on this list, what can we do to help our users? Some of the library tech trends for 2019 and 2020 have been published. This list is compiled from TechSoup for Libraries, Ida Joyner, who was one of the opening speakers, and Gartner Inc. And this is not an exhaustible list, but are some of the things that libraries, depending on the type of community you serve, should be aware of for technology. In just about all of the sessions, there has been discussions about privacy and personal data. I've been working with Dr. Sandy Hirsch on a project with blockchain and doing self-sovereign identity to keep personal data private. But that is one area. We've got many other areas in libraries where we do need to keep records private. Are you in a school library or a public setting where you need to try to help with cyberbullying? If you're looking at fake news and fake information, educating not only ourselves, but also our users. One of the trends, and there's two schools of thought, very divergent. Libraries should be technologically risk averse. Wait and see what is really going to be good out there and then do it. And then there are other people that say libraries need to be on the cutting edge, take some risks, not that is going to bankrupt you, but to start out and look to see what your community wants, what's there. And I went into one session from an academic library in Florida, and they're doing it very gradually with AR, VR, as some of the others are as well. 5G communication is coming on the forefront. What does that mean for libraries, especially in communities where some of our users don't have any communication? A number of sessions looked at drones. Someone said that drones will be delivering library materials. That has some really exciting possibilities, but we also have to be aware of any potential problems with this. So take a look at TechSoup for Libraries, Gartner, to get ideas on what trends are available and coming up for libraries. So there are some options that I pulled together to improve your knowledge and forecasting skills. To be an effective forecaster, you need to pay attention to what's going on, to scan the environment continually, and that is the literature, social media, your users, and to keep on learning. We're going to start with some ways to keep on learning. You don't need to predict the future, but there are some ways to be proactive in staying current. In the next couple slides, I'm going to talk about publications and social media to watch. You may be really familiar with many of these, but may not have thought about it as a way to keep current with technology. The different organizations that are helpful, the people to watch, and then we're going to take some time at the end to talk about planning techniques. Some of the educational programs are out there. There is tuition for some are free. If you go to this site on the left, University Futures and Foresight Degrees and Programs, it's got a list of national and international programs that offer all these different programs and certificates. So there might be something of interest to you to get up to speed on how to become to get formal training in foresight. The University of Houston College of Technology has several different programs in foresight, and I know some librarians who have taken their courses, have gotten certificates and degrees, and they are now working in different libraries and organizations, testing the waters, seeing what technology is going to be of interest to their users. So you can get degrees, certificates, and the one on the bottom is the International Training Center. And if you go to their website, they've got a toolkit for futures thinking, and they have a number of free courses and workshops that you can take online to get up to speed with foresight planning. With professional development, some opportunities that you may have already taken. The South by Southwest Festival is in Austin, Texas every year. You do not need to travel there to become a beneficiary of what goes on. They stream a lot of events coming up in March this year. So go to the South by Southwest website to see what they have. Several years ago, I watched a streamed session on blockchain, and that's how I was introduced to the topic and became interested in it. There are many free and low-cost educational opportunities. There was one session from SUNY on a MOOC that they have. So go back and look at that particular session to get more information on the MOOC that they have for emerging technologies. Coursera, Canvas.net offer a number of courses in that area, and Udemy is a fee-based site, but they're very inexpensive. And I will admit to you that more than once I have gone and bought a course for $9.95 so that I could get up to speed on a new technology. The Library 2.0 online conferences like we have help you. Web Junction, don't overlook it. There are many wonderful webinars and resources there on all different types of technology and planning. I already mentioned the University of Houston, and at San Jose State University in our School of Information, we have Open University. You do not need to be a matriculated student to take our courses. They are tuition based, but some are 1 unit, 2 unit, or 3 unit. It can take 4, 8, or 16 weeks. And we offer many courses that have been talked about today: gaming, robotics, AR, VR. So take a look at all the different places where you can get no cost, low cost education on the different technologies. Now this slide has just about everything except the kitchen sink on it, but these are all topics that should be watched to find out what is new in these areas. In the course that I teach, we go through each of these 3 a week so that people, the students, become aware of where to get information about this and how they can impact libraries. If you look down at some of these things, we have not seen them 10 years ago as in the curriculum. So now artificial intelligence, AR, VR, big data, blockchain, civic literacy, foresight forecasting, gaming, all of these things are now a part, either as separate courses in the curriculum or topics that are in 1 or more courses. So I urge you to take a look at some of these things, even if you think they may not be relevant to technology or to you in your library. You never know. Okay, so one way to get information about these is to get aggregators. On the right-hand side are a number of popular aggregators. I would like to tell you that if you are not familiar with the different types of places to go for technology, Tech URLs and TechPort will give you a list immediately of technology publications and websites that you can select which ones you want to see. Someone earlier had mentioned TED Ed, but TED also has a site called TED Recommends. So if you go to ted.com/signup, you can select the topics that you're interested in, and the information will come into you. The next slide just is a screenshot of what Tech URLs looks like. So I did this one a couple days ago. You can see the first ones coming up are Hacker News, Reddit, Technology, Wired, The Verge, Diggs, Slashdot, things you may know about, but may have forgotten about. So please put in chat if there's anything that you have used that you would recommend. Blogs to watch. If you go to feedspot.com/library_blogs, this was just updated last week, and it's the top 50 librarian blogs and websites for librarians. And many of these do have technology. So go into this site and select the ones that are of interest to you. Blogs and publications to watch. There are so many. But these are some of my favorite. I would say out of this list, my two favorite are Smithsonian Magazine and Popular Mechanics. You wouldn't think, especially with Smithsonian, that you would get up to date with technology, but they do have a technology section on their website. MIT Technology Review and EDUCAUSE have already been mentioned in numerous sessions today, but they're really worthwhile going into. Popular Mechanics, it's not your father's Popular Mechanics of decades ago. Really interesting topics of what is out there, what is available, and you know, it's not too technical for you. It's very popular. Science Friday on NPR with Ira Plato. If you get a chance to listen to that, at least on my NPR station, it's Friday afternoons. Really interesting. Bloomberg Technology, Wired Magazine. There's a journal out there, Technological Forecasting and Social Change. TechCrunch. These are things that you may have in your library, but even if you don't, you can get to them free online. So definitely go through the list and pick out things that are of interest to you. Some organizations to watch. There are so many out there, but the Library Innovation Lab, NPR, there's the World Future Society, there's the World Futures Studies Federation, there's Institute for the Future. I do like Institute for the Future a lot. And just go casually browse at their websites to see what they're talking about. The MIT Media Lab, Google Research, and we all know about TED. So take a look at some of these to see what they're talking about and get some ideas what might be applicable to your library or information center. People to watch. There's a number of people out there. On the top right is our professional Jason Griffey, who is now at NISO, but is on the forefront of technology. David Weinberger, who is at Harvard, and our speakers who have been here today. On social media, go to these people's Twitter pages or their websites or LinkedIn and see who they follow. And that's how you can build up who you want to watch. Michio Kaku, who is pictured on the right, you've probably seen him on TV. He's a popular physicist, but you know, it's interesting, and it's what some of our users are watching. New technologies to watch. All of the sessions today gave you fabulous ideas on how to use gaming and robotics and immersive technology and chatbots. Two that I just wanted to highlight very briefly, because I've been working on blockchain for the last 24 months, and we have a grant in for a new project. We have several libraries in the United States and Canada who will be ready to partner with us on having a universal resolver or a universal library card that can be used in any system that accepts it. It can be for homeless people, people who are just traveling for business, for pleasure, who are stateless. There are examples of blockchain for interlibrary loan and a voucher system. And I mentioned very briefly before for credentialing, both in an academic setting, in a library setting, and self-sovereign identity, where each individual will manage their own information, and that it's private, it's more secure. We've seen lots of examples today about augmented reality, virtual reality. How can it be used in your library? For programming, for demonstrations, lots of different uses. And planning techniques. I will scoot over this very quickly, but good old Dilbert back in 2011 needed to put together a 5-year technology plan. 5 years, you can hardly plan ahead for a year as quickly as technology is going. But Dilbert says, how about tomorrow will be the same as today, and next year will be all flying cars and whatnot. So pointy-headed boss says, word it up and put a bow on it. And he says, I'll add a pie chart for the sizzle. So planning, though, is really important. And there have been a number of sessions today. I mentioned the Nebraska Library Commission has talked about planning and including your users in it. But you need to plan with a purpose, and you need to know about your organization, both the users and the non-users. Understanding, going back to your management course, if you haven't been involved in planning for a while, environmental scanning and SWOT analyses. And if you look at the little graphic, Peter Bishop and Andy Hines teach in the Foresight program at the University of Houston. Their book on teaching about the future is excellent. It's also an ebook if you can subscribe to that. But in particular, part 3, chapter 10 is all about planning for the future. Highly recommend that. The ways that a futurist plans, it's not about predicting the future. It's getting ready for it, having the foresight to know what is coming. You look to the future, but you're also acknowledging what has happened in the past in your organization and what's going on right now. And you're looking at your internal and your external communities, your staff, their capabilities, your budget, because you really have to know what you can afford, what these things cost, and you don't want to go down the wrong path and spend all of your money. And what I really want to get across today with what we just talked about is understanding the technological possibilities. So planning is continual. You can start now, though. Pick out the technologies that you think are going to be of interest to your communities, and then do an assessment. You can ask them, you can have a survey, a focus group, but you don't want to just plan something and they won't come. There was one quote in one of the sessions today, leap and the net will appear. And that could be taking a risk and going out, but you do need to plan and have some understanding of what your community wants. and be proactive as opposed to reactive. So in a nutshell, the keys to effective planning are understanding the technological landscape, your organization, your users and non-users, and coordinating the appropriate technology with the organization's goals and objectives and the budget. I put that in red because you do need to be aware of the costs for implementing, maintenance, and continuing. And is it going to be worth it? Our first speaker in the keynote session talked about understanding your population and aligning the technology with the user's needs, also with the organization's needs, so that everything must be in alignment. So the foresight skills that are noted is what we do as information professionals. Foresight skills include information identification of technology and people, information retrieval, synthesis, and analysis. So we're there. It's just putting it in a different light, looking to the future and what the technology holds. You need to assess the technology, gathering data, creating scenarios, having focus groups, reviewing the literature, forecasting, and backcasting. Backcasting, in a nutshell, if you're not familiar with the term, is seeing where you want to be and then going backwards in the steps to get where you want to be. Now, I want to make sure that you have this website. The European Foresight Platform has an incredible wealth of materials. You have to go digging there. It's not always easy to find things, but if you keep digging, I promise you'll get to it. But this table that's on the right is on their website, and if you click on each of these, you will get a detailed description of the planning and forecasting method. So the ones that I've highlighted are environmental scanning and monitoring, SWOT analysis, expert panels, backcasting, and scenario building. And you'll see many forecasters do have the scenarios of what things will look like to give people an idea of what the technology can do for them. Talked about alignment a moment ago, having the strategic plan in place so that you can incorporate the technology, and the planning will give you clues about the organization's culture, the clients, and the products. This is Planning 101, identifying the plan, having the team create it, going through all the steps, and then making sure that you have the assessment measure in place, because you implement a new technology and you want to know how you're going to assess it to make sure that it was successful or not. More on this, and I'm scooting through because I have just a couple minutes, and that's my last slide. So the best way to predict your future is to create it, and that's through understanding the technological landscape and planning for it. So thank you so much for your attention, and if you do need to contact me or have a question, here's my email at San Jose. I'd be glad to hear from you. So back to you, Steve.
Wonderful, Sue. Thank you so much. Thanks to Dr. Hirsch as well, to San Jose State University School of Information, and to all of you for attending today. The recordings have started to populate already. We'll get the keynote recordings up tonight. All the rest of the recordings should be in final form tomorrow, and we'll send an email out to everybody who's registered with the links to the recordings. Take care and bye now. Have a great day.